Hi, welcome to Citizen Survival Plan. This is John here, or welcome back if you've been to the channel before. Today I'm going to do a topic on why I don't care about bushcraft and what this channel is really about. For most people, 99% of us, we're just trying to get prepared for uncertain times, and getting backup gear, power, water filtration is going to be your first priority. Evacuating and retreating into the woods is a very small part and a last-ditch effort to survive, and I think people are really focused on this for whatever reason. They make it their main thing, and that's not what this is. You need to start with just being prepared first with the gear you need. On this channel, we are preparing for a temporary or semi-permanent collapse of society and the way of life that we're used to. Things will inevitably return to some sort of law and order, empires fall, and communities and governments are reformed. It doesn't just collapse into oblivion permanently. That's not how history's worked, and that's not how I think it's going to be. 2024 is probably a really good time to start getting ready, especially with the presidential election coming up. We're spending more money than ever. I think I saw something where we spent $1 trillion in the last 3 or 4 months, which is unheard of. I mean, the rate of us going into debt is rapidly increasing, and we're coming up on a pretty spicy presidential election. We're going to see how that turns out. Let's get into bushcrafters. Bushcraft stuff is a very specific type of survival technique. In my opinion, it's really only for surviving if you've been ditched in the woods, or you are just gotten to a plane crash and you're trying to survive to get back to civilization. It's meant for a very short period of time of survival. I've always kind of been a prepper. Early in the early 2010s, we used to go to the surplus stores and we were into guns and we built Bugout Bags and stuff. But I seriously got into really looking at what it took to be prepared when I had kids and looking at the events of 2020. I looked at some Dave Canterbury books about bushcraft and survival books on a lot of YouTube videos, and I think I just realized that you're not gonna live in the woods and take care of your kids with a lot of these bushcraft skills. People will claim that they can do it, but I just really, I gotta really drive this home. For most of us, for 99% of us, we're not taking our kids and gonna live in the woods. It's gonna be a temporary thing, even if you ever had to do that. So during 2020, when I was really looking at a lot of stuff, I took a whole different path. I started to realize that I needed real equipment. I needed water filtration. I needed some backup power. I needed communication. I needed good security tools, firearms, things that worked. The bushcrafters have made a lot of comments on this channel, like, when's the last time you built a primitive smoker in the woods and smoked a deer and lived outside? Well, I don't. I've been camping, but no, I've never done that. That's not what this channel is. That's not what I do. A big thing that I reject on this channel is these bushcrafters and these outdoorsmen hunter people. They act like they are the safeguarders of being prepared, and I wholeheartedly reject that. Like, if you don't want to live in the woods and you don't want to be part of their bushcraft lifestyle, then you're not in the club. I'm not in that. I like camping here and there, but I'm a regular guy who lives in a neighborhood. I didn't plan on the world turning into what it is now. One big thing about gear and stuff is, if you just look at even just like our military, when they send our troops overseas, our troops are trained with a lot of survival skills, but I mean, they ship them over with the finest equipment. They set up infrastructure. Lockheed Martin hooks our military up with missiles, all kinds of stuff. They don't train them to go over there and fight living in the woods. I think a lot of the people who are bushcrafters and a lot of the preparedness channels you see just enjoy the outdoors, and that's okay. I enjoy some of that stuff too. One of my favorite channels I used to watch, not so much anymore, but I used to love it, and I'll probably catch it from here and there, is the Joe Robinette channel. I haven't checked it out in a while, but I always loved his camping videos and stuff. It's cool. It's relaxing to watch. It's really awesome to watch people do stuff like that. But if you notice, he always goes back home when he's done. You know, he's one of the coolest bushcrafters out there, but he doesn't live in the woods permanently. He at the end of his episodes, he goes back home and restocks. One big point about bushcrafting is I think a lot of these people are like anti-gear and anti-spending any money on equipment that'll help you, that you have to figure it all out without any equipment. And I really disagree with that. They make comments saying that the solar power stations are junk and they're going to blow up. Maybe we have backups. You can have backups. They get mad about electronic sights. They said you got to use iron sights for whatever you're doing. They're very anti-technology, and that doesn't help a lot of people. I listened recently, and I'm not going to say the name of the channel, but it was a podcast about a guy. I mean, for 45 minutes went on and on about mindset and skills, and he never really talked about what he was doing. Like, I don't care how strong your mind is, you need clean water. You need equipment to help you make this stuff when the emergency hits. So I was watching this guy. He went on and on and on about how he needs to be stronger, how your mind needs to be right, and that's fine. That's all good. I mean, definitely, mentally prepare for this because things could go bad. But at the end, he just wanted to sell a course that you could follow him and he could like tell you how to have a stronger mindset. I am into substantive prepping, substance here. We show you how to use radios. I show you how to repair an AR-15. I show you how to build one, literally. I like to get into actual things, like really, really substance. There's certain things that cannot be replaced with bushcraft, like communications. I need a way to make electricity to recharge batteries, run radios in serious situations. There's no amount of acorns or bushcrafting I can do to replace my comm equipment. Another problem that I have a lot of the comments that come in here is none of these outdoors people agree on a timeline on how long you can be evacuated for and how long you're going to live in the woods once you do evacuate from your home. Even Dave Canterbury, who is like the lord of bushcraft, admits that all of these packs, no matter what you name them, whether it be an inch bag or Bugout bag, they're 72 hours until you need to get where you're going. One thing that I posted that I thought was really interesting is in one of my bags, because we have them above us, we have bags packed here with some equipment in them, just like everybody else. I don't always call them Bugout bags, but they have equipment and stuff in them. So there's butane in there right now, but I had a bottle of propane. This was a video about replacing all your saws and your blades and all this bushcraft equipment in your pack for something simple like a propane burner. And people were like, oh, you're going to run out of fuel. What are you going to do then? What are you going to do then? But then the same people will argue that the pack is only for 72 hours. You can bring water, 3.5 cups of water to a boil 24 times with one of those propane bottles. So in the same sentence, they're saying you need to have all this equipment to live in the woods for a long time. They're also just saying it's only a 72-hour pack. So there's no consistency on some of these bushcrafters' arguments on what you're doing with this pack anyways. If you have a bottle of propane in your bag, you are going to need to get to where you're going long before you run out of actual fuel to cook with. Naming your bag won't help you. So the prepping community and bushcrafters and these outdoor people have done this for a while, and I feel like they've gotten away with some stupid shit for a long time. Naming the bags. I would post a video about, Bugout bags are stupid or something. People are like, well, I have an inch bag. This is a get home bag. An inch bag is an I'm never coming home bag. What a stupid thing to do anyways. Let's try and get past that. But Yeah, naming the bag isn't going to help you. A bag is just a bag. Like, no matter what you name it, it's just a bag, and hopefully it has enough supplies in it to get you to where you need to go. Naming it isn't going to make the bag any different. You can put different stuff in it, that's fine, but it's just a bag. I want people to keep that in mind. So when all these experts come out and go, oh, this is an inch bag, I can live longer out of this bag. This is a bug out bag, I can't live as long in that one. It's a bag. It is a bag. Get over yourself. I see so many channels where the majority of their content is packing a bug out bag over and over and over and over again, putting different stuff in it, trying different things, doing this. It's never going to work. You are only going to be in the woods for so long before you need something. Antibiotics, something. You are going to get an infection, something. You need to keep moving. So a lot of times I think that these channels are hurting people by having people focus on only packing a bag. One of our friends messaged my wife a couple weeks ago and sent her some Amazon link to like this is like a bag with all these blades in it. She's like, I'm trying to get prepared. Like, this is what I think I'm gonna order. Is this gonna like get me along? It was just like a bag of blades. It was like, I don't know what you would do with that. It's just a bunch of like shitty Chinese blades. People don't know what they're doing, and this channel is to aim you in the right direction to get the gear you need. Not a bunch of Chinese junk, stuff that'll work, stuff that's good, stuff that can really help you. These bushcrafters claim to have spent years honing their bushcraft skills. Fire starting skills, building shelters, makeshift stuff, all this. And sometimes I look at it and I just ask why. Your whole preparedness plan is to bug out and be a coward living in the woods? That's the whole thing? Is that being prepared? That I just need to be prepared enough to just run away? We're supposed to be the good guys, people. We're not supposed to be running away. You go live in the woods. Why are all of us who are supposedly the good ones are the ones that are gonna go run away and live in the woods? This is what bothers me the most about this, I think. Not to mention that it's a death sentence, you know? If you get sent into the woods with you, an infant, and a 5-year-old, I'm sorry. It's just, you're gonna need to do something. Spend your time preparing. Don't spend your time and all of your mental capacity planning to run away. And I know people are gonna say, well, what are you gonna do if you have to bug out? Well, when COVID hit, things were turning and things are getting worse. So I start pre-staging equipment at other people's houses. People who are a little bit further away from town than me. And that would be a good thing to start thinking about. Where can I pre-stage some decent equipment? So if I do need to leave, I could load up in my car or something, or even tow a cart, whatever, I don't care. You need to start moving your equipment and take what you have and get to another location. That would be a better plan than just grabbing a bag and running out the door. You're not gonna have enough clothes or anything, medicine, etc. in that bag to sustain you for very long. So this brings me to homesteading. I just want to take a quick moment to talk about this. This isn't what the video is about, but this is a lot more realistic of an option than using bushcraft skills and bugging out. Like livestock, having your own crops, chickens. There's some people in my neighborhood that have chickens, so they grow little gardens and have chickens. Like, that's good. That's more realistic than living in the woods. Yeah, so I'm in a neighborhood right now. I'm not homesteading. I would love to do that in the future. One of the big things I'd like to do here, but you know, I'm here now, and you know what? I live around my neighbors, and instead of running away, I think I would be better off helping my neighbors and, you know, feeding them or using some of our weaponry to maybe protect them or maybe hand it off to them and other neighbors around us rather than just running away. Remember, we're supposed to be the good guys. Why are you running away? A quick note about choosing gear. So a lot of the gear I review on this channel and gear I recommend isn't because I like the gear and I'm like a fanboy of it. I get accused of being a fanboy for Glock. I don't care about Glock. I don't have a Glock hat or I don't have a Glock sticker or whatever. I simply choose the best thing. So I see a lot of people in the comments arguing about brands like Smith & Wesson, and you can like tell when they're commenting that they're just like, they are fans of that brand. We don't care about brands here. We care about what works, what's easy to use, what works, and what's serviceable. That goes for guns, water filters, you name it, anything. With the power stations, we care about easy connectors, all kinds of stuff. I mean, you name it. We want to know what works and what's easy. That brings me into another little quick thing, and this is sort of just about me. I would rather not be preparing, if that tells you anything. I don't want to be doing this. I didn't want to buy a couple $1,000s worth of freeze-dried food. I didn't want to have to buy a backup power station. I don't want to do any of this. The fact that I'm doing it is because I'm looking at the world around me, and it's not looking good, especially with the 2024 election. And I'll probably get into more of that in maybe another video. I do not talk about politics on this channel, but I mean, just look at what's happening. It's not going to be good. And during 2020 and after, things start getting back to normal. And I was like, whatever they're going to throw at us next is going to be 10 times worse than COVID. And I truly believe that. And I think one of those times that it's going to be thrown at us is at the end of this year, the end of 2024, going into election season. That's my opinion. That's a big thing with me. I'm not super into prepping. This isn't everything that I do all day. I want to have fun with my kids. I ride motorcycles, so I love to buy new bikes. I could have bought a brand new motorcycle with the money I spent on all this gear. I didn't want to have to buy it. But I thought I could help people by going through and showing them what I thought worked and what I thought didn't, and why I thought that way. I went through so much nitty-gritty stuff when I was preparing, even down to every little last connector for power stations and stuff. I mean, I went through it all. I really did. One of the big things that made me want to prepare, and I'll see if I can roll some footage, but I was working in DC during the 2020 riots, and going into Washington, D.C. was like a hellscape. Everything was boarded up. My brother was down in D.C. with me at the time, and you would drive down there and there'd be like people punching the air, just like freaking out, just like have people just lost their minds in the city. One of the buildings that I worked at was a very wealthy building where very wealthy people lived. And they smashed all the windows out in that building, and that was on a nice part of DC, like near Georgetown. So, I mean, it got bad, and every time I went into the city, it just reinforced that I needed to start getting prepared, and bushcraft was not the way to do it. We're not preparing people to be prepared for 40 years when the entire world collapses and an asteroid hits Earth. I can't do anything about that. What I can do is prepare for uncertain times that we're facing now. And a lot of this equipment can be used in other places. Like if there's storms or stuff, the power stations are cool. The buddy heaters that I use with all the propane stuff, all that stuff can help you for natural disasters too. So it's something to think about if you just are a prepared person. My final thoughts is living in the woods out of a bag is stupid. Homesteading is at least a real solution. Working with people around you is probably going to be more necessary than you think, even if it means giving up some of your resources. These bushcrafters make a lot of claims that you need to be ready to survive in the woods. I would say that's not being prepared, that's giving up. What is the point of preparing if you're just going to run away and be a coward?